Okay guys, we're back on the build here. We have the box just about done, so we're going to show you where we're at. When we last left off, we have just assembled the box, and now we're getting ready to install all of the electronics. I've already done some of it. Now, as you see here, I have painted the entire box with the Mr. Hobby's black Surfacer 1500. Really is a nice color, nice paint. I mean, it's a great primer, and I just thought the rest of the box being black would look pretty good in contrast to the light surface here. We've already installed the speakers. This side here didn't come out really as well as I had hoped, but I might be putting something over that to hide that little blemish. So it's not perfect, but it works. Now, what I have in here, let's see if I can get the drawer out, so I can show you what I've done on the inside here. Here I have the Bluetooth module, which I have installed into the upper portion of the box using some Velcro, just so that we can hold it in place and it won't move around as we're plugging and unplugging our power source, which is a USB, micro USB power source, power plug here. Now, you'll see the wiring going from the Bluetooth module going to the speakers that we installed in the last episode. And now we have our lights from the two light up buildings here. I don't know how well those are going to show up once everything is said and done, but it's just kind of cool that there are lights there. And we have all of the wiring routed properly. Negative and power sides, both all soldered together and ready to be hooked up to our switch and power source. So far this is all of the electronics that control the audio and the lights here. Now, what we have here is our power source for the lights, which we're going to be using a coin cell battery holder, and our switch to turn the lights on and off. The Bluetooth module is going to have its own power source, which plugs into a wall, because it needed quite a bit more power, and to run the speakers, run the module, the Bluetooth, all that, was going to use a lot more power than I thought a coin cell battery holder, a coin cell battery would be able to provide over an extended operating time, such as if I set it up at a show and have it playing all day long. Didn't really know if these batteries would provide enough power to keep the audio going for the entire show. Now here I have the ship itself, all 24 wires made into these two leads, power and ground, which will also be connected to the two leads coming from the lights in the base, which will then be connected to the power source and the coin cell battery. So we're all set and ready to go. Now let me show you what I did with the sliding drawer. Now the Bluetooth module, when it turns on, there is a blue LED to let you know that the power is on and it's ready for pairing. I wanted that to be visible so that I'll know when it's ready for pairing and I can set up my streaming device, whatever that's going to be. So what I did was I left part of the original drawer, which was all transparent, masked off, painted it, and then removed the mask so that we could have a nice blue glow coming through here. I then added a piece of masking tape in the back, which will diffuse the light and give us a nice even glow. What I didn't realize when I did that was that the blue glow from the Bluetooth device also illuminates the edge of the box when it's on. You'll see that when I have everything powered up and ready to go. And it also kind of shines right through the opening that I had to cut to allow the power cord through to our USB connector. I may put something there to dress that up, maybe not, depending on how I'm feeling when I'm getting just about done with this entire project. Because I did cut the hole, but I cut it a little bit larger than I wanted to, And so maybe I'll dress that up, maybe not. I haven't decided yet. Right now, the process of installing the switch. I already cut the opening for the switch here. Now, it's a simple rocker style switch. It's got its 2 leads. It's going to be wired to the power side of the circuit. And this will be basically what interrupts the power flow on or off. Switch simply just inserts right into the box there. I'm not going to push it in all the way yet because I still have to measure out my wiring. That'll be connected to the power side of our battery holder. And then the power side of our harness going to our lights in the base and our lights in the ship. So in order to do that, I have to install the ship into the base, and then we'll have to solder all the wiring in the base together and then solder it to the wiring here. I know it sounds a little complicated, but it's really not as complicated as it seems. So the first thing we have to do is set up the ship in the base and route those wires together, and then we're going to set up these wires. In order to install the shaft that holds the ship up into the base, I realized I had cut the hole a little bit larger than I needed to. So what I did was that I had an extra bit of this brass rod. I put it in the hole, and then I just filled the excess of the hole with super glue around the brass rod. I then just twisted the brass rod and slid it out, which caused the hole, once the brass rod was pulled out, to take the exact same shape that I needed for the brass rod holding up the ship, which gives me a really good point to install the ship into the base. With a perfect size for the mounting rod of the ship. So we're just going to put that in now, because we have to figure out how far in we want to put this rod in order for the ship to stand high enough above the base. First thing we're going to do is just feed the 2 power leads into the ship, into the base. And now the tricky part is that when we're installing the stand, it it's a very tight fit, so it's going to scrape the paint off of the base as it's going in. So we kind of got to try this and get it in one shot. Now, trying to figure out what a good height would be for the ship on the base, as I want it to be high enough so that it stands out on its own, but not so high that it doesn't seem like it's part of the entire display. So I think, and we also have to make sure that the drawer here will fit into the box. So this is what I have to figure out right now, is how high I want the ship to fit. As we make everything get in here. Now we want the ship at an angle right here like this. And I do believe we can go a little bit lower. We're not going to go too much lower, but I think that height there is going to work for me. And now let's see. We still have plenty of room to play with it. So we can go, just trying to find a height that makes me happy. Really, it is all about me being happy. Let's go a little bit lower, right about there. I think is going to be where I want it to be. And still have plenty of room to get this out. Yep, I think this is where I want it to be. Show you guys the height that I picked here. I think this is going to work perfectly for what I want. Okay, now we just have to put some super glue around it. Make sure we glue this thing right in to the base so that it doesn't move again. And then we're going to work underneath it for the remainder of the build. I am happy there. Now I'm going to be using some Bob Smith Super Gold as it dries very clear, has a really strong bond, and works perfectly for everything that I've needed it to do so far. Okay, now we'll hit it with a little accelerator. And that, give it a second to cure, and that ought to lock us right in place. Guys, now let me show you what I did down here. I cut an access port, or what I call a service port, into the bottom of the casing because I wanted to be able to fix this thing or do any of the work I needed to do in a much easier form than trying to do all the work inside here. I think I touched on this in the last video. Don't remember if I did, but I guess I'll just go over it now. So this is going to allow me to get in here and do all of my soldering work, set up all my switches, everything together, so that I won't have any issues with working on this thing and having room to move my hand in here and everything. So I'm happy with this. This comes from working in the automotive field, where engineers are the last people to worry about how easy it is for us to get in and out of these things. Yeah, I'm talking to you guys, engineers. Sometimes you guys suck. Alright guys, don't know if you can see this, but now we have completed our joining of the wires from both the base and the ship together. So we're ready now to just solder our power source and our switch in, which means now that we have to measure out all of our wiring and figure out where we're going to install the battery holder. Now I am thinking, here we have the switch, which is pretty much it. I mean, I can just actually install it all the way now because I don't think I'm going to be moving anything from here. And then I just have to work with our wires here in order to wire everything up. So basically the installation of the switch is very easy. Just press it in and there we go. Look at that. Sometimes it's almost like I know what I'm doing. So we have our rocker switch there. Probably would have made sense to test the switch before we put it in, but we're just flying by the seat of our pants here. Okay, so now we have the switch installed. We have our battery holder here. We may as well put the battery in it. Using a good old 2032 battery. And we're going to figure out where that's going to mount. We're probably going to Velcro that to the inside of the drawer right there to make it for easy access when I want to replace the batteries. But now we're going to have to make sure that we come out this way, and we're going to need enough slack to open the drawer up. So our first wiring issue is going to be to attach the power source to the switch. And then figure out where to put the switch. Now, our power source is going to be very easy. Basically, it's just going from here to here. So what we have to do is just cut our wires and strip some wires, and boom, we're done. And then this wire from the switch is going to go to the red lead in the harness. Let's see if I can show you guys that without my hands in the way. Right from there to this lead in the harness here. Not sure if you guys can see that. So this from here to here is easy because we're just going from, this is going to be contained inside the tray here. The tricky part is going to be measuring out what's going to go from here to here in order to be able to slide the drawer in and out. So why don't we just start doing our okay, so I think we're going to put switch here, so we only need, that's better to have too much than too little wiring. Here. Here to here, I think we'll do. Now guys, all of this stuff I've gotten from Evan's Designs. I've mentioned him on the channel before. Shrink tubing, power source, switches, everything comes from him. And I gotta tell you that it's some really good stuff he's got. He'll have anything for all of your lighting needs, for your modeling and everything. I really like using his stuff, and I'm going to continue to use it. Okay guys, now we're going to continue with the wiring on this build. We're going to start now with wiring the switch to the power source, which is going to be a very simple procedure. We're just going to strip the wires out, bring together the positive lead from the power source to the red wire on the switch, and solder them together, and then we'll have our power that's going to go to the ship. Okay, now we're going to use our butane torch, and we're going to start applying a little bit of solder to the tip of the torch. That's called tinning the tip, which is going to allow us to apply the solder directly from the torch, as well as applying the solder to the wire itself. That allows us to get excellent coverage and allow the solder to soak in from all angles on the wire. Okay, now that we've made our soldered wires bonded together forever, now we're going to put a little bit of a heat shrink tubing over it, just to make sure that the wires, after they're soldered together and power is coursing through them, they don't accidentally touch each other and cause a short. A little bit of insulation goes a long way to maintaining the system operating properly. Now that the first wire is joined together and we know we'll have power going to the ship, now it's just a process of finding a place to attach the power source, which is the battery, and then measuring out the wires running to the harness that's coming from the ship. Alright guys, now that our power source is secured, all of our wires are soldered, now just comes trying to fit everything into the drawer and seeing if the drawer will close and stay shut without binding on any of the wires or kinking any of the wires, because we don't want anything to break as we're putting it together, or if we have to open or close a drawer to fix whatever or change a battery. So I'm making sure that nothing is binding or pinching. But what I did find is that when I close the drawer, the wires themselves, the tension on the wires is pushing the drawer out. So while they're not binding or they're not being pinched or anything, I am going to have to try and figure out how to keep that drawer closed. And I think I already have my answer. We're going to be using magnets for that, as the tension is just very slight, but the drawer itself is very loose inside the box, so even the slightest bit of tension on the wires is pushing them out. But it's going to be an easy fix, so we're going to take care of that next. Alright guys, we've gotten everything buttoned down, and I've even gotten the magnets installed so that we won't have any more issues with the wires trying to push the drawer out. As when it closes in, nice and secure, the magnets are applying just enough counterforce to prevent the drawer from being pushed out when it's all together, while still releasing very easily. You can see the power sources in there, all the wiring is put together. And if you look inside, underneath the transparent part of the box, you can see all the wiring in there. Nice and neat. No muss, no fuss. Now, I'm going to make a collar for the opening of the stand of the ship, as I'm not really crazy about that big hole there, and I did figure out, after going through my parts box, a perfect collar to make for it, and you won't believe what I used. So we're going to work on that and getting that installed. And then I think we're almost done with this project. In which case then we'll be ready for the big reveal. I may add some more trimming around the box just to kind of even everything out a little bit more. Haven't decided yet. But that's just, you know, stuff that I'll do after the fact. But as of right now, I'm very happy with the way it's turning out. And in the next episode, we're going to see everything come together. We're going to see all the lights working and the final reveal of this project. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Oh, before I go, remember, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Leave a thumbs, hit the thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't like it. If you do like it, hit the thumbs up. And help this channel grow. I'm really enjoying bringing these videos to you guys because I love working on these products. And I want to see if there's any chance we can make this channel hit 2,000 before the end of the year. I would be very, very thrilled with that. And then we'll have some special giveaway or something to commemorate our big event. Alright guys, I'm going to see you on the next one.